I actually feel the most like myself when I dress like this. I refer to my work as historical couture because I like to mix elements of different historical time periods and modern fashion. I will use any minute of time I have available to work. I sew on the subway by hand, the whole commute both ways. All of the textiles that I use are natural fibers. Predominantly I work in silks, which would have been appropriate for the time, but they also have the most beautiful drape. They take color well. I also use cottons and linens and wools. I actually studied costuming in undergrad, and I stepped away from it. Now I have a regular job, but I just missed it. I've always had a dream of going to Venetian Carnival, and I had the opportunity. So one year I spent 7 months creating gowns for Venetian Carnival. I loved it and it took off from there, and so I just kept doing it. Every project I do always has a learning element. So there's something new that I want to do that I've never done before or that I've never seen done before. It's easier to travel by subway than it is to go in a car. The gowns really aren't easy to sit in, and then to be confined in a car can be really difficult with the feathers and everything. So standing on the subway is often easier. Most people either don't see me or they're just very kind about it. It's really fun. I always, talk to someone and have a good time with it. Last year, I got to go to the ball at Versailles. They close Versailles for one day and everyone comes in 18th century gowns. And you get to walk through the Hall of Mirrors and, eat meringues. And it's just such a great way to see Versailles that otherwise you would never get to see. You can get lost in a corridor and for a few minutes you're there by yourself with the ghosts. History is complicated and it's easy to look at it through rose-colored glasses. Historically, there were a lot of very hard times to live. Life wasn't easy for a lot of people. And I'm not really interested in recreating the life, but I love the fashion. I love the appreciation of textiles. I love the way they manipulated fabrics. I love the color. I love all the work and heart and labor that went into clothing. I'm not as interested in actually pretending like I'm living in the 18th century, and I'm not unrealistic about how hard it was for so many people. In Italy in the 16th and 17th centuries, they had what was called the courtesan onesta, which is the honest courtesan. And those would have been one of the more expensive courtesans, but they were also very learned. They were allowed to go to libraries. They were educated. They would be in conversations with men. And in a world where women weren't present, they were. So while there is the more courtesan aspect of what they did, there is certainly the education, the independence, the doing as they wish really appealed to me, and I just kept thinking about that a lot. And I said, how does that relate to me, and where do I want to take that? And so virtuous made more sense, given that we're in a different time, but it worked. Can't not do it. I tried to not sew and to not be creative, and I felt empty. And so as soon as I started making costumes again, it just felt fulfilled. There's something about learning something all the time and learning something new and then having a finished product that it just makes me feel good. A lot of people who do recreations, they'll have a personality that they talk about, which I don't. I don't have a different name. It's just me. It feels like me.